The golden cage. The villagers had whispered about Chief Zubair long before he arrived in Amukha village. A man of immense wealth, he owned several estates across the country, yet his face rarely graced the public eye. So when his glistening black SUV rolled through the dusty roads of the village and stopped at Ada's family compound, curiosity turned into awe. Ada was the pride of her family, modest, graceful, and educated, even though poverty had clipped the wings of her dreams. Her beauty was the kind that held silence in a room. So when Chief Zubair stepped out in fine white agbada and spoke with an eloquence that stirred admiration, her parents were quick to forget their doubts. He claimed to have seen Ada at a traditional festival, fallen in love, and returned to make her his wife. Ada, though hesitant, was not immune to the allure of a better life. A man of means who promised comfort and protection seemed like a dream. With her family's blessing, she was wedded in a lavish ceremony that lit the entire village with color and music. But dreams can sour. The mansion in the city was a monument of excess: tall gates, glittering chandeliers, marbled floors, and a silent staff that moved like shadows. At first, Ada was mesmerized. But days turned to weeks, and she began to realize that she was alone. Chief Zubair was distant, spending days locked in his study or leaving the house altogether. When he was home, he was possessive, jealous, and cold. "You are my wife now," he would say, eyes hard. "You don't need friends. You don't need your family. You have everything here." He confiscated her phone and replaced it with one monitored by his assistant. Her movements were restricted to certain parts of the house. The mansion, though grand, became her prison. When Ada discovered she was pregnant, she thought the news might soften him. It didn't. Instead, he grew even more controlling. He hired a private midwife who answered only to him and forbade Ada from stepping outside without a chaperone. "You will give birth to my heir," he declared. "That child must not be tainted by your village ideas." Ada began to write, secretly, using scraps of old paper she hid beneath the mattress. Her diary became her companion, her voice in the silence. She started observing everything: the routines of the maids, the times the guards changed shifts, the creaky floorboards in the east wing. Then, one stormy afternoon, she found it. Behind a broken panel in the master bedroom closet was a dusty box filled with letters and photographs. The contents revealed a different woman, young, elegant, with the same eyes filled with pain. The letters were addressed to Maya. "I thought I was special. But this house is cursed," one letter read. "He locks love in cages. I fear I will not make it out." Maya's last letter ended mid-sentence. Fear clawed at Ada's heart, but it was quickly replaced by something fiercer: the fire of survival. The golden cage was now a battlefield. And Ada was not going to lose. The rise of fire. The silence of the mansion was no longer peaceful, it was calculating, watching. Ada moved with caution, feigning meekness while her mind sharpened like a blade. Every day, she greeted Chief Zubair with downcast eyes and soft words, masking the rage and fear that burned underneath. Her only companion was Chinyu, the young maid who had been in the house long before Ada arrived. Ada noticed her subtle kindness, the way she lingered longer than necessary to tidy the room, the moments their eyes locked with unspoken understanding. One night, after weeks of carefully orchestrated trust, Ada took the risk. "Chinyu," she whispered as the lights dimmed and the hallway cleared of footsteps. "Do you know who Maya was?" The girl froze, tray trembling in her hands. "Madam, you saw the letters? She was like me, wasn't she?" Chinyu hesitated, then nodded. She tried to escape. No one saw her again. Together, they formed a quiet alliance. Chinyu provided Ada with stolen phone minutes, snacks, and information. Ada, in return, shared what she read from Maya's letters, how the mansion was a pattern of beautiful traps laid by a man obsessed with power and obedience, but Ada was not Maya. She had fire. And now, a child growing within her that deserved more than marble floors and golden chains, Chief Zubair's suspicions grew. He questioned Chinyu, demanded Ada stay in bed longer, and watched the security cameras obsessively. To gain his trust again, Ada pretended to fall ill, fainting once, sobbing for affection, even begging him to sing to her belly. He fell for it. Then, the unexpected ally arrived. Dr. Okonkwo, the private obstetrician hired by Zubair, came for a routine check. Ada sensed a gentleness in him that didn't match the others. "She took another risk, doctor," she said under her breath while Zubair stepped out to take a call. "If I don't make it out of here, my baby won't either." He paused, eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" "He's holding me captive." The doctor said nothing, but the next week, he returned with a bag that held more than medical tools. Hidden among the equipment was a flash drive and a note, "I believe you. I'll help." Ada passed him a copy of the letters, photos of her bruises, and a recording of Zubair shouting threats. The doctor promised to alert a friend in law enforcement. As her due date neared, Ada's fear peaked. She couldn't risk delivering under Zubair's eye. They needed a distraction, and then, it happened. One humid night, as thunder echoed above the mansion, Chinyu snuck into the security room and triggered a false fire alarm. As the guards scattered in confusion, Dr. Okonkwo slipped into Ada's room, whispering, "Now or never." Wrapped in a maid's cloak and shielded by chaos, Ada slipped out through the servants' entrance. They drove in silence for hours, heart pounding, until they reached a private clinic hidden in the outskirts of the city. There, as dawn broke, Ada gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She named him Maya's Promise. The price he paid. Chief Zubair awoke to an empty room, panic clawing at his chest. The cameras were wiped, the security system tampered with, and Ada was gone, vanished without a trace. His rage was volcanic. He stormed through the mansion, shouting commands, firing guards, and interrogating Chinyu, who only wept and said, "She's gone, sir." He launched a private search across the city, bribing officials and threatening anyone who had ever crossed his path. But there were no answers. Ada had vanished like smoke. But something worse followed: silence from his trusted contacts, strange calls in the night, and investigations into his business dealings. Dr. Okonkwo had sent the evidence to the Anti-Corruption Bureau and a human rights organization. The letters, recordings, and even a sworn statement from Chinyu were enough to stir the media. Within weeks, Zubair's name became poison. His properties were raided, accounts frozen, and political allies distanced themselves. Women came forward with stories, maids, mistresses, even former wives, each revealing a horror they had kept buried. Zubair's empire crumbled. He tried to flee the country but was intercepted at the airport. Cuffed and humiliated, he was paraded before the media he once controlled. The mighty chief was now a symbol of disgrace. Ada, meanwhile, lived under a new identity in a quiet coastal town. With the help of a women's rights organization, she received counseling, financial support, and protection. Her baby thrived, a joyful soul untouched by the shadow of his father. But Ada was not content with silence. She founded a center called Maya's Promise, a refuge for abused women and children. The walls bore the stories of survival, of pain transformed into power. And at its heart was Ada, the girl who turned her prison into a purpose. On the center's first anniversary, she stood before a crowd, child in hand, and said, "I was locked away, but I found the key. And now I pass it on to every woman who thinks she cannot escape. You can. And you will." Chief Zubair, now serving multiple life sentences, watched from a prison TV as Ada's name became one of hope. The price he paid was everything.